Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another episode of the GG Reports. Today I'm excited about what we are about to discuss. This is going to be very, very exciting. Today we are going to go into the money issues. We are talking about being financially fit for life. Now, I have a very special guest on the show, my friend Steve Dawn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pastor Gigi. It's a pleasure.
Very good to have you. One of the most important things in life, financial well-being, and like physical fitness, is one of those things that we all need to fix and deal with. We are familiar with the idea that physical fitness has become a big issue because of growing obesity. And a lot of people are very keen on losing weight, shedding off their extra kilos. COVID-19, as you know, put us all back at home. We ate and added some kilos, and so I've seen a lot of people seeking for physical fitness. But beyond physical fitness, there is another disease that is afflicting very many people. And today on the show, I have a physician. I'm calling him the financial physician, to deal with this one disease called money problem. And so Steve, you're welcome to the show. I'm going to introduce you very briefly in terms of your bio, and then I'm going to get you to talk to us and tell us about, how to fix this big disease plaguing our society.
Thank you.
Very well. Now, I want to remind you that the GG Report is a platform where we deal with big, bold ideas, and we have honest conversation on a broad range of issues and subjects: socio-economic, philosophical, theological, political. Today we are going to go into the money, financial, and economic issues. And I believe that you're going to enjoy the show. Please remember to share. Those of you that are watching on the Facebook page, YouTube channels, please share with your friends. And the links are below on the screen. There is a number also on the screen. You can send us a text. You can react to this show. You can tell us what you think about what we are discussing today. Ask a question, and then we can address it. So my guest is Steve Dawn. Steve is an entrepreneur, a venture capitalist, and a course leader. I know that's quite a story. And Steve is the founder of Financially Fit Africa, Financially Fit International, and Financially Fit Africa. And Steve has done many other things. I want him to introduce himself and tell us more about his story. And one of the things I would like Steve to tell us about is something he calls his economic philosophy. He calls it cost capitalism. Cost capitalism, and I would like you to talk about that. So welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Pastor
Very good.
Gigi. It's great to be here.
Very nice. I'm very excited to have you here. And, the GG Report, we started dealing with all kinds of issues. And like I told you before we came on the set, I'm very passionate to see us addressing ourselves to real issues. So let's start from you telling us your story. I would like you to give us your childhood story, growing up in America. You're an American, and what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and a venture capitalist? So if you can start from there.
I was born in a what would be considered to be a small village called Klamath Falls, Oregon,
All right.
in the Pacific Northwest. And I had a pretty normal childhood. I grew up relatively poor. My father was a high school janitor, and we didn't have much, but we had a great amount of love in our home.
Okay.
And most Kenyans know that that's the most important thing.
Yes.
And in fact, I'd like to begin by simply stating this, that I've been living now in Kenya for 5 months,
Okay.
and I've come to the realization that Kenyans have much more to offer Americans than anyone from America has to offer Kenyans.
Wow.
This is a God-fearing nation.
Mm-hmm.
People have love in their hearts.
Right.
The purest souls I've ever met on the planet.
Right.
And I have gained so much from my brothers and sisters in Kenya,
Right.
from the purest souls that I've ever met. And I had wonderful parents, had a great childhood. And one thing though, leaving that village, I saw the world, and I recognized that there were people who had enjoyed abundance.
Right.
And I wanted some of that abundance. I
Yes.
wanted to become financially fit.
Right.
I wanted to create wealth.
Right.
And leaving that village, I came to the realization over the years, as I dedicated my life to the study of the wealthy,
Right.
I discovered that wealth is not earned.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth is created.
That's very profound. I think you can say that again. So wealth is not earned, wealth is created.
Wealth is not earned, wealth is created. And once you understand the principles of wealth creation,
Right.
you can create wealth again and again.
Uh-huh.
And Pastor Gigi, I've demonstrated that in my career many times.
Okay.
And I'm here to teach Kenyans how to, among other things, how to create wealth.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. So you mentioned that your parents were high school janitor. I think in our language here would say a cleaner, someone who worked, in a school as one of the junior support staff, cleaning up, the school, the compound, maybe serving food or something like that in a high school. So they were,
Yes.
your parents were very ordinary, like,
Yes.
like some of us,
Yes.
I was born in the village. My parents were farmers. We were living off the land and of course growing some coffee. So that was a little bit helpful. And that's it. We were just growing up and
Yes.
enjoying the farm.
Yes.
Yeah, so very ordinary living. Okay, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about your education. You must have you went to high school, then university. Did you do a degree course?
Yes, I was in college for 4 years. I served as a missionary to England for a Christian mission for 2 years at my own expense in Great Britain. That was an education in and of itself. And then I attended Brigham Young University for 4 years in the Salt Lake City, Utah area.
Okay.
But I left college a little early. I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so I've never really had a job ever since leaving college.
Okay.
I've always worked for myself. I've employed tens of thousands of people over the course of my career. And I tell people that there's a creative person inside every one of us.
Yes.
And we're not always we're not the same. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't draw or paint, but I know how to create companies.
Right.
And as sons and daughters of God, the children of a creator, we're happiest when we are in the creative process. And I love creating businesses.
Okay.
And Pastor Gigi, I love creating wealth. And I also love teaching others. I love inspiring people.
Right.
That if I can do it, a man from from a modest family and a small village. If I can do it, so can anyone listening to us right now. They can create wealth.
You have quoted a number of people in your books that inspired you. Who is that one person that inspired you most?
That's easy. I'm married and I have 7 children.
Okay.
Married to a wonderful woman named Colleen, and I've always considered her to be my mentor.
All right.
I've just the crumbs that have fallen from her table of learning
Yes.
has given me an education. She has been a great mentor.
Yeah.
Outside of my family, my greatest mentor was a great author and influencer in the world by the name of Stephen R. Covey,
Right.
who wrote the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I was a student of Dr. Covey before college. He was my mentor and college professor in college.
All right.
And after college, he continued to mentor me.
Right.
And he's responsible for my style of learning and teaching and training. He teaches much by metaphor.
Right.
He learned that from the greatest teacher who ever lived, who taught by analogy
Okay.
and metaphor. And hence the theme of financial fitness,
Right.
to become financially fit for life. There's so many ways that it compares to the physical.
Yes.
And the financial, the financial is analogous to physical fitness.
That's true. That's true.
So my greatest teacher was Dr. Covey, had a tremendous influence, continues to have an impact on my life.
Yes.
Into now the next generation as well.
I have read Stephen Covey. I have his book in my library. I keep a small library. I keep telling people that because I'm an avid reader. I'm passionate about studying and the stories of other people, being mentored by people that have done a fantastic job. So that's one of the books I read early on and really set me straight. And the whole idea of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Brilliant, story, brilliant, concept that, and to learn that that's the man who mentored you, that's great. I'm happy. So I guess I'm drawing, through you from Steve Covey, and that's wonderful. So, so let's talk about, so you went on to start many businesses that I don't know how much of the businesses that you've been in and out of, or the ones that you're running right now. Maybe you could open that space up for us before we come to talk about Financially Fit Africa.
My business philosophy has evolved over time, and in recent years I started a business, a restaurant concept called Even Stevens.
Right.
And Even Stevens practices a principle, a philosophy which I refer to as cause capitalism.
Yes.
That's cause spelled C-A-U-S-E.
Yes.
Cause capitalism, which is the new capitalism. Now that's a bold statement, I realize.
Yeah, that's a very bold statement
Very
because capitalism as an idea, from what I see and I read a lot, what's going on in the West, has become a very, kind of like disdained idea. I mean, capitalism is under attack, and the West, as we know it, was built on the idea of capitalism.
Yes.
But today is no longer, the model.
Well, it's the model in America, but in order for capitalism to survive,
Yes.
Pastor Gigi, capitalism has got to change.
Okay.
It's got to become kinder,
All right.
gentler,
Yes.
more compassionate.
Yes.
And cause capitalism is the new capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Cause capitalism is when a for-profit company,
Right.
like my restaurant concept, Even Stevens,
Yes.
chooses as its partner a nonprofit
Okay.
from the very start,
Okay.
out of gross sales, not out of net sales later on when you're profitable. From the very beginning, a cause company chooses a nonprofit as its partner, not as a gimmick,
Right.
but as a true sustainable partner. With Even Stevens sandwiches, I knew that this would be perceived as a gimmick if we didn't provide a great product and service.
Okay.
Our sandwiches were award-winning.
Right.
Restaurant of the Year in one state in its first year, for example. And So we delivered a great product, but for every sandwich we served, we gave a sandwich to the communities hungry.
Okay.
Sandwich for sandwich.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend who said, Steve, you can't do that. You have to compete with Subway, for example. And
Right.
they don't give a sandwich for every sandwich they serve.
Yes.
I said, I realized that. So I studied Subway sandwiches. And one thing I learned was that their average Subway sandwich shop did $350,000 in gross annual sales.
Right.
So I thought, well, if I do better than $350,000,
Yes.
then I could prove my concept.
Right.
For every sandwich I serve, I give a sandwich, but I got to do at least $350,000 in sales. But I'm an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs by nature are optimistic. My goal was to do $1 million in
Yes.
our first calendar year in our Even Steven sandwich shop.
Right.
My friend said, Steve, you're crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're saying you're going to do 3 times the gross sales of a Subway.
Right.
Well, he was wrong and I was wrong. We didn't do $1 million in our first year. We did $2 million in sales
Oh, wow.
in
Wow.
our first
Oh,
year
wow.
because
Wow.
it was very well received.
Okay. Okay.
And what I've discovered, what I was able to prove in a business environment,
Right.
a principle that we're all familiar with,
Yes.
that you teach in your church every Sunday,
Yes.
and it's the words that go like this, found in the most widely published book in the world:
Yes.
give and you shall receive.
Absolutely.
Pressed down, shaken,
Uh-huh.
and overflowing.
Right.
What we were able to discover is that as we gave, we received in abundance,
Wow.
thereby proving that cause capitalism could be the future of capitalism, that can maybe save the free market of capitalism.
Absolutely.
But in the process, the hungry are fed,
Yes.
the naked are clothed. Where did I get these ideas? And those who are sick and afflicted are visited,
Uh-huh.
and so forth.
Yeah.
And so now each one of my companies practice cause capitalism.
Right.
And we were proving it in various sectors, but to kind of fast forward, I'm now in Kenya, Africa, in Nairobi, living here.
Right.
I was invited by a well-known ambassador, Dr. Clyde Rivers. He said, Steve, you've got to bring cause capitalism and Even Stevens sandwiches to Africa, starting in a beautiful city called Nairobi.
Wow.
And
wow.
I said, where? Pardon the ignorance of the average American.
Yes.
Nairobi's bigger than Chicago, Pastor. And I was unfamiliar with Nairobi.
Right.
And I didn't know that Nairobi was not only one of the largest cities in the world, but one of the most beautiful, livable cities in the world.
Right.
So I came here to practice cause capitalism with various companies.
Mm-hmm.
I would like Nairobi. There's a reason why the United Nations is in Nairobi and Gigiri.
Absolutely.
There's a reason, and it's because I believe, from my perspective, that Nairobi is about to become the New York City of Africa.
It's really sad that sometimes we're very skeptical about ourselves, and we judge ourselves very harshly here. Sometimes we think, well, we are just one big bunch of corrupt guys doing nothing. We're going to soon ban our city and all that. I see a lot of negative vibe, especially, social media. Yes. And especially the young people kind of have a very distorted and very negative view of where we are in Africa, and in Nairobi in particular, in Kenya. We kind of become a bit skeptical of our own position, but very reassuring.
This is the Garden of Eden. I've never walked in a neighborhood before where there's bananas grown on trees, fresh avocado, and God's food, which is fresh mango.
Right.
There's an abundance. Scarcity is man-made.
Right.
Abundance is from God, and this is a city and a country that is full of abundance. and people just don't recognize it yet. The opportunities in Nairobi and in Kenya, there are greater opportunities here than anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
There's, it's because there's opportunities to serve. And when there's opportunities to serve, wealth is created, because one of the principles of wealth creation is that it's created on a foundation of serving others.
Absolutely.
And the bigger you serve them and the faster you serve them, the more money you make and the faster you make it.
Right.
And the opportunities are so abundant here that I have a difficult time remaining focused on one opportunity at a time. But the opportunity that we're focused on right now is where there's the greatest need, which is financially fit.
Of the set, you described it as that the greatest problem is, number one, financially fit. Number two, financially fit. Number three, financially fit. So that's where we're going to focus on. So you started Financial Fit internationally, and then here in Africa.
Yes.
And I think you're describing why that is. So, and you have some plans. So you can tell us about what you're planning with this Financially Fit. You describe the organization and the plan that is, coming up.
I started Financially Fit many years ago, and I built it to a $35 million company, and I sold it. It's a company that I had such great affection for, such a love for, that I bought the company back years later.
Okay.
And the greatest compliment I've received with Financially Fit in the United States of America was when a corporate president, a very influential president, told me that what Stephen Covey was for relationships,
yes,
you, Steve Down, are to personal finance.
Yes.
Now, being compared to my mentor was the greatest compliment I could have received.
Absolutely, yes.
Financially Fit is what I refer to as principle-centered wealth.
Okay.
We teach principles, and principles know no boundaries, nor does it matter the language or the race or the nation. Principles apply to everyone on this planet.
Okay.
For example, love your neighbor. That applies to America as well as Kenya and Africa.
Absolutely.
And so forth.
Absolutely.
So it's principle-centered wealth, and it's the principles that have the greatest impact to change people's lives.
Okay.
These are the principles that changed my life.
Okay.
These are the principles that took me at age 35, I guess age 37, where I had my first $1 million day in sales.
Okay.
Nearly $2 million in a single day in sales. These are the principles that have enabled me to create $100 million of wealth, and not just once in my career. These are the same principles that will change the lives of our viewers who are watching today. These are it's principle-centered wealth. And Financially Fit for Life, which is a book that I wrote many years ago, and it's it's as timely today as it was then, because principles don't change. Strategies change.
Yes.
Principles don't change.
Right.
And there are 33 exercises in Financially Fit for Life. One exercise of which that can change the lives of our viewers here today, but I can promise them that the 33 exercises combined will change your financial life for generations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we go to a break, we have just a few minutes. I would like you to tell the story of how you went into this financial hole. You lost a lot of money. You told me you lost how much?
Many millions. And I found myself $3 million in debt.
$3 million in debt. Was that after you had already been operating Financial Fit company or before?
No,
it was before.
It was following another business.
All right. So
yeah.
That could be like, that is what inspired you to actually look very, very boldly at the principles. Was that what inspired you to develop the principles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was finding myself $3 million in debt, a wife full-time mother because we had 7 children,
Right.
and our home was in foreclosure. We were about to be evicted.
Right.
We had no income, no assets, and I had pneumonia. And I found myself in a very dark place. And I was even considering the darkest thoughts.
I can imagine.
And because I had a $1 million life insurance policy. And so I found myself in a place where, I knew that I'd inspired people throughout my life. I realized that this was a time to perhaps inspire myself. And, be careful what you say to yourself when you're having these types of conversations from within.
Yes.
Because it could be a matter of life or death.
That's true. That's true.
And I had this vision. Here I was, $3 million in debt, no income, no assets, no job, and no food in the house with 7 children. And this is where I have a lot of empathy for my brothers and sisters who live in the slums, for example.
Yeah.
And why I want to help them. It's that empathy. But I came up with this vision. What if I could be out of debt in 5 years? And if, at the same rate, if I could be out of debt in 5 years, I could be financially free within 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. That's what we are going to come back to. We're going to talk about that. Because out of that dark corner, came this vision.
Yes.
What if I could be out of debt in 5 years?
Yes.
What if I could create another, wealth and be financially free in 5 years? That's absolutely correct. Okay, so those of you that are following this conversation, I believe that you're glued there. You're hearing this story of Steve Don and his amazing journey. He had difficulties, failures. He hit the rock bottom, $3 million in debt, and sick, and absolutely, he's described it, and he was able to pull out of that, and he has a wonderful story. So I want you to stay tuned in, because we want you to absorb everything we are saying here. And I hope that this is going to help you, it's going to inspire you, and you're going to find your place again. It doesn't matter where you are. Maybe you're poor, you consider yourself poor, you don't have a job. COVID-19 has, obviously sent a lot of people into very, very dark corners, without a job, without an income, and maybe with a family, and you don't know where to start. There is hope for you, and Steve is here to inspire us and to share with us principles. So we're going to go into a break. When we come back, we're going to ask Steve to share with us the principles behind the financially fit for life principles or ideas. And I hope that will help us, to find our vision, a vision of recovery. So we go into a break, we come back and continue with that conversation. Don't go away.
What is sexual purity?
Sexual purity is basically just the word, as the word says. It is sexual purity. I'm choosing to abstain from any sexual activity until you get married.
Unajua ukipenda mtu, purity inakuwa tricky. What is the difference between being a virgin and being sexually pure?
Virginity is a fruit of purity, not its definition.
Come again, come slowly.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is the GG Report. I believe you're tuned in. We're talking about being financially fit for life. Principles, well-tested principles that can keep you financially fit. You might be physically fit, but you also need to be financially fit. Before we went to the break, Steve Dawn, my guest here, was telling us about the principles of being financially fit. And you shared with us how the vision was born. You were $3 million down in a dark hole in debt. And for those of you viewing, I think it's good to clarify, $3 million is equivalent to about 300 million Kenyan shillings. This is the kind of money that can build a mall in Nairobi. I mean, that's big money. And my friend Steve here was in that kind of a hole, and God helped you. He lifted you up. So the vision, you're talking about the vision that was born. So you can go back to that a little bit, and then we can talk about the principles.
Yes. Well, to finish that story, Pastor Gigi, you know, it was a very dark time for me, and I had this vision. It was really a question in my mind: could I become debt-free in 5 years without filing bankruptcy? Because for me, it just didn't feel right.
Right.
And, you know, and if I could be out of debt in 5 years, I could be financially free at the same rate within 5 years thereafter.
Right.
So I came up with a very basic plan.
Mm-hmm.
I walked downstairs where my wife Colleen was sitting at the dining room table. She was putting the bills in different piles, and she knew that she didn't have the money to keep the lights on, you know, to pay the utilities, and she didn't have money for food, but she was, it was a very dark time for her as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been sick for a month, and so I'm walking downstairs in my bathrobe, white as a ghost, just recovering from pneumonia.
Right.
But she could see this light of hope on my face and my eyes.
Yes.
And she said, "Steve, what's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I have this vision, honey." And her response right up front was, "You're not thinking about starting another business, are you?" And I said, "Honey, I have this vision of a new business."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, what would it be called?" I said, "It'd be called Financially Fit." And we both laughed from the belly because I would be the biggest financially fit hypocrite
Yes.
on the planet.
Yes.
With $3 million of debt, no income.
Yes.
And I said, before you come to any conclusion, I said, let me ask you this question. The person who has the worst form of cancer and overcomes that cancer with a clean bill of health in 5 years, isn't that the person that would inspire hope in other cancer victims and also have the empathy to actually want to inspire them? She said, "Steve, I can't argue that you're right."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Honey, I have this vision. We could be out of debt in 5 years without filing bankruptcy."
Right.
And Colleen's wise reply was, "We'll just take this, apply this principle in our daily lives. Give us this day our daily bread."
Right.
And I said, if we can just make it until 5 p.m. when the bank closes each day, we've made it another day. Well, fast forward 3.5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
3.5 years later, I had a company that was valued at $35 million.
Wow.
And we were suddenly financially fit.
Right.
So what I discovered, Pastor Gigi, and this is what you teach on Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
that regardless of where you are today,
Mm-hmm.
not just financially, but any aspect of your life,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the despair you face today, if you can come up with a vision of hope, a clear vision of hope,
Yes.
and combine that vision of hope with an action plan of faith,
Right.
miracles are about to happen.
Absolutely.
And I was able to demonstrate that, and I'm so grateful that I was able to learn that at a relatively young age. And I've been teaching that principle ever since, and it's what inspired Financially Fit for Life, the 7 steps,
Mm-hmm.
33 financial exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to just maybe give an overview of the 4 goals, because in this short program today,
Yeah.
in the Gigi report. There's not enough time.
Yeah.
But we are going to offer a free Financially Fit for Life book to our viewers today.
Yes. That's coming.
Yeah.
Financially Fit book will be available to you for free. So that's coming. Right.
I'm not here to inspire hope and then leave you hanging.
Right.
We're going to actually give you that action plan of faith that will help you achieve financial goals in 5 years that most people never achieve in a lifetime.
Right.
Goal number 1 is we're going to begin the process of changing the way you feel, think, and act about money.
Okay.
Because I'm here to tell you, Pastor Gigi, that it's an inside-out approach. We can't take a man or woman out of the slums permanently until we take their heart and their mind out of the slums.
Right.
We have to take the slums out of the heart and mind of the individual.
Right.
And I call it a wealth heart.
Okay.
And I'm going to teach you in Financially Fit for Life how to create a wealth heart.
Okay.
Inside out.
Right.
You know, it's an inside out approach.
It starts from the inside and then manifests in the outside.
You cannot change human behavior until you change the heart of the man or woman. That's what you teach on Sundays in a spiritual perspective. But I'm also here to tell you, Pastor Gigi, that all things are spiritual. Money is spiritual.
Yes, it is.
The temporal is spiritual because all things are spiritual.
Yeah, that's
so we're
true.
going to begin the process of changing the way you feel, think, and act about money so you feel, think, and act like the wealthy.
Right.
And when you feel, think, and act like the wealthy, in a matter of time, you're going to create wealth because that's what the wealthy do. And
Right.
that's what I do.
Right.
And
Right.
the person who comes from a poor background and millions of dollars in debt and who's gotten out of debt and created wealth, wouldn't you agree with me, Pastor Gigi, that is the person that is qualified to teach our viewers how to become
Financially free.
financially fit for life?
That's true.
So goal number 1 is we're going to change the way you feel, think, and act about money. Goal number 2, the 3 biggest financial health diseases in Kenya. When I came here a year ago, as a financial physician in a sense,
Yes.
I must diagnose the disease before I recommend a cure.
Right.
And I discovered that the 3 biggest financial health concerns in Kenya are as follows. Number 1 is poor cash flow.
Okay.
Number 2, poor cash flow. And I bet you can guess number 3.
Number 3, poor cash flow.
Pastor Gigi, you got that.
Yes.
And so if we don't treat the disease of cash flow,
Yeah.
poor cash flow, all the education in the world will have limited impact in the practical lives of our viewers because it would be like receiving a driver's license
Yes.
without ever receiving a car to drive.
Okay.
And so education is limited unless you have a vehicle.
Yes.
And so I knew I had to address the cash flow issue.
Okay.
And I developed a program, a very practical program, to help our viewers reach $1,000 of income in addition to what they're already earning.
Yeah.
$1,000 per month, starting in the next 30 days.
Okay.
Now, I'm not here to tell you that it's easy. I'm telling our listeners, our viewers, that it's possible.
Yes.
And which brings me to the Steve Down Challenge.
Right.
I'd like to challenge our viewers
Right.
for you to earn $1,000 in addition to what you're already earning in the next 30 days. So goal number 2 is to improve cash flow. I presented that my challenge and my practical application of that challenge to His Excellency Stephen Colonzo in his home. And once he understood it, not only did he pledge his support, but he said, regarding cause capitalism, he said, this will change the world. But when he could see that I had a practical strategy to help Kenyans and East Africans earn $1,000 starting this month, he said, that, Steve, is revolutionary.
That's true. That's
and
really
I said,
revolutionary.
Your Excellency, only with your permission, I'm going to quote you
Right.
on what you just said. And he said, you have my permission because I want to support anything that will create practical and revolutionary change in the financial lives of my fellow Kenyans.
That's true.
Very sincere man.
Very good.
So
that's 1 and 2.
So goal number 2 is to improve your cash flow immediately, but particularly when it comes to your income.
All right.
To supplement your income.
Mm-hmm.
Goal number 3 is for you to be out of debt in 5 years or less.
Yes.
Including paying off your house.
Okay.
Now, I've had many of my Kenyan brothers and sisters say, well, Steve, I rent, I don't even own a home. And you're saying debt-free? And, well, Steve, first, shouldn't I get a home? Yes. And when you do, let's pay it off in 5 years.
Right.
The word mortgage, the Latin meaning of mortgage is death pledge. We make a death pledge to the bank. And it really is, it's not the freedom and the abundance that God wants for his children, his sons and daughters.
Okay.
So, and I'm not here to tell anyone that it's easy. I'm saying that it's possible, because if I can overcome millions of dollars of debt in 3.5 years and become financially fit for life, so can you.
Right.
I've earned the right to inspire you to accomplish such a meaningful goal for you and your family.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to do with Financially Fit. So goal number 3, debt-free for life in 5 years, including paying off your home.
Okay.
Goal number 4 is becoming financially fit for life by achieving wealth for life.
Okay.
Wealth has such a relative meaning to people.
Right.
I've been to a village where owning a pair of shoes, you're considered wealthy.
Yes. Yes.
And then I go to a penthouse in downtown Nairobi, a multi-million-dollar penthouse. And so, wealth is so relative. I would like to define wealth where it has meaning to our viewers, and that is getting you to a place where you no longer have to work for money, because money now works for you.
That's a definition of wealth.
That's how I define it. So if you need, for example, let's imagine that you have big visions and goals and dreams, and you need $100,000 per year to live the lifestyle of your dreams. Most people,
and I will tell you, a penthouse in Nairobi, in the best location in Nairobi, with a jacuzzi and a swimming pool. That's my goal.
There you go. So that's $100,000 per year income lifestyle.
Okay.
So how do you achieve that $100,000 per year without having to continue to work for it?
Okay.
Well, take that $100,000. This is a very simple formula. $100,000 times 10 equals $1 million.
Yes.
Then yielding 10% annual interest will yield $100,000 per year forever.
Okay.
As long as you never kill the goose that lays the golden egg. The question people ask me, well, Steve, I understand the math. I have an education from the University of Nairobi.
Right.
And so I understand the math, but how do I get to that $1 million nest egg that can yield 10% per year?
Right.
And how do you yield the 10% per year?
Yes.
Well, if you don't know how to accomplish that, then perhaps Pastor Gigi, you need a wealth coach.
Right.
And I'm here to offer a personal financial education.
Exactly.
And we will offer the first step of that financial education, Financially Fit for Life, to our viewers for free. So even if you live in Kibera and you're unemployed because of COVID-19 and it's dark right now, I'm hoping that at least you don't question my sincerity, that I'm here to help you become financially fit for life, because I honestly understand what it feels like to not have food for your children.
That's true.
And until the slums go away in Nairobi, Pastor Gigi, my work is not done. Because I've been called on a mission to help everyone in Kenya, for the wealthy to become wealthier, and abundance for all, and for the poorest of the poor to achieve financial fitness.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like those four, goals. Change the way you feel, think, and act. Number two was
Cash flow.
cash flow. Achieve cash flow. And number three, debt free.
Yes.
And number four, achieve wealth.
Yes.
By creating a nest egg that can earn you the amount of money that you need to live, properly, the way you dream, and in a sustainable way. So
Yes.
those four main objectives. The Financial Fit program itself has 7 principles.
7 steps.
There are 7 steps. So there are 4
principles.
goals
Yes.
and 7 steps.
Yes.
So I think we could maybe you can elaborate for us some of the steps. I don't know how, within the time we have, we can at least discuss some of the key steps that are needed to be able to accomplish these goals, those principles.
Well, there's 7 steps, 33 financial exercises. So it's not a reading program; it's an exercise program.
I like that bit. Yeah.
For you to become financially fit for life.
Yeah.
And it's a lifetime program. I'm still working on my financial fitness.
Right.
But when does it end? Well, when the world is living abundance, all of God's children are living a life of abundance. I think we are now financially fit as a people,
world.
as a nation,
as a world.
as a world.
Okay.
And so as God's people.
Mm-hmm.
And so the very first exercise is the most simple
Right.
exercise.
Yes.
It goes like this. It's where you exercise your God-given agency of making a choice.
Right.
And it goes like this, Pastor Gigi, it's as simple as this. I, Steve Down, choose to be rich. You choose wealth.
Yes.
And yes, you actually make a very conscious choice, and you sign your proclamation.
Right.
Where you proclaim that, because it begins with that choice, it's I am rich.
Right.
And you begin by making that choice of exercising your God-given agency.
Absolutely.
Then you go on to exercise 2.
Right.
And exercise 2 is most life-changing. It's where you actually create wealth in its intangible form.
Okay.
It's like the architect's blueprint.
All
I
right.
call it a wealth vision,
Okay.
where you crystallize exactly what you want financially during your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And as you crystallize it and you put it in writing and hopefully even pictures,
Mm-hmm.
this is what you look at and read. I look at mine 3 times a day. I
Okay.
still do,
Right.
because of the impact where basically your wealth, the immaterial creation of wealth becomes a part of your central nervous system.
Okay.
And you even think about it in your sleep. The subconscious takes over 24/7, and you invite God, the Spirit of God, into your visualization, your wealth vision.
Right.
The wealth vision is like the rising sun that rises in the east, providing warmth and abundance to all the earth's inhabitants, ever expanding.
Right.
And so that's where the wealth compass is pointed true east towards your wealth vision, the rising sun.
Absolutely.
So that may sound simple to maybe if the intellectual that's thinking, okay, maybe looking at this through a lens of skepticism. I'm here to tell you that it's the small things, the little things we do in life,
right.
that have the greatest impact in your wealth vision.
Yes.
If we had more time, I would give you a practical example of how it's impacted my life.
We talk about vision, and a lot of people talk about vision, and sometimes I think we talk so much. We do more talking than actually being practical and being practical in the sense that what you're describing is you sit down and use your imagination and your knowledge, because most of us have vague ideas about what we want to achieve in life. So, I want to be wealthy someday, but it's not defined. So what you're saying is that you get deliberate about it, and you design that vision. You
This
write
isn't
it down.
these are not your financial goals. It's your wealth vision.
Yes.
The third exercise of step one is to write your short-term, intermediate, long-term financial goals.
Yes.
A wealth vision is something that evolves. It's like it expands, because once I teach you how to create $1 million net worth,
Yeah.
I apologize for talking in dollars, but dollars seem to be a universal language around the world.
Yes.
And once you have a net worth of $1 million, your vision expands and you're thinking, okay, that was not only possible, but it was practical. What if it was $10 million and beyond?
Right.
Because the first $1 million is the most difficult.
Okay. I like that. The first $1 million is the most difficult. And now you know what that means in Kenyan shillings? That's
100 million shillings.
That's 100 million. And you're saying that's the most difficult.
That's the most difficult, but I'm saying that there's not a viewer, that is viewing right now, I believe, that cannot achieve that vision. Now, we all know that there are some among us who perhaps are incapable, physically or for whatever impairment. And these people are not left behind because we have a principle called cause capitalism. And Financially Fit, the vision is to become the global leader in personal wealth education and services.
Yes.
But it's a cause company, and our first nonprofit organization is called the GOAT Foundation.
Yes.
GOAT, GOAT, yes, a GOAT Foundation.
Yes.
And we've already delivered, we've had 2 GOAT events in Kenya, and our next GOAT event is July 24th. It'll be the actual official launch of the GOAT Foundation,
Okay.
where we're delivering 200 goats to 100 families in need in Bishop Joel's neighborhood. He's an influential bishop. And so a percentage of our sales, because Financially Fit is a for-profit organization.
Yes.
I make no apology for that.
Yeah.
The reason why the GOAT Foundation is sustainable as a partner is because Financially Fit is a profitable company.
Exactly.
And that's where capitalism works. Capitalism, the new capitalism, is cause capitalism.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that because, we have to make some money. If anyone is going to have an influence and an impact in changing the world, transforming the world, helping the needy, and being, helpful. Even sustainability in terms of if a business has to be sustainable, it has to be profitable. So that's very, very important. Okay.
I shared it, by the way, with Archbishop Gitanga and Bishop Oginde, and I apologize for the pronunciation.
Yes.
And other spiritual leaders, that among their ranks, the pastors and the bishops and ministers, a financially fit bishop is a better bishop, because if you're a bishop and you're having difficulty putting food on your own table, how can you even be aware of the needs of the orphan and the widow? And we all know that pure religion, undefiled before God,
Yes.
is to visit the orphan and the widow in their affliction.
That's true.
And so everyone in Kenya needs to become financially fit for life, including the pastors and the bishops.
Absolutely. I know we may not now be able to, we are running out of time actually. We are just about 2-3 minutes away from the end of this particular program. But I like the principles you have shared. I like the vision, creating that vision, and then the exercises. So maybe you can tell us how somebody can get a hold of this, can get into the program. I think you can take a bit of time to explain. So for example, the Financially Fit education program is delivered online, and maybe you can
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
And how those that are viewing us can become part of this program.
Well, we have an opportunity for you to join us in our educational programs for as low as $10 per month.
Okay.
And we're talking about a world-class financial education.
Yes.
I heard Archbishop Gitanga from the pulpit say beware of false prophets,
Right.
but by their fruits you shall know them.
Yes.
I would like our viewers to receive some of the fruit of this tree, Financially Fit for Life,
Yeah.
for free.
Right.
And I've created a landing page. It's called stevechallenge.org. Steve, S-T-E-V-E, challenge.org is a landing page. Give us your personal information, your email address, and we will send you Financially Fit for Life, the electronic copy of that book. And we would also like to give you the challenge. This is where you can, if you'd like, accept the Steve Challenge of earning $1,000 per month, because in this case, you're actually joining with us with not a financially fit revolution, because that sounds a little violent. This is a financially fit crusade. We would like that. We're referring
In the
to
Christian
this,
sense,
we
in
are
the
referring
Christian.
to this as the Wealth Crusade.
Yes.
We would like you to join the Wealth Crusade, and by so doing, I'm going to help you make $1,000 in the next month. Now, of course, it depends on individual effort and commitment and so forth.
Yes.
And so it's not a guarantee, but you can't question my sincerity. My vision is 1 million people in East Africa earning $1,000, hopefully within their first month,
That's true. That's a good vision.
in the next year.
Right.
That's what Kenya needs right now. And yes, we are starting other cause businesses.
Right.
We're going to provide thousands of jobs, and Kenya will become the light on the hill that cannot be hid.
Absolutely.
It will become the New York City of Africa, because this is the greatest city in Africa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you've had it for yourself. You can become financially fit. You got to do the exercises. If you want to lose weight, you go to the gym. But if you go to the gym and you don't exercise, you just touch the machines, nothing will happen. You got to do the exercises. So financially fit calls for action. It calls for you to get engaged. There is a financial education system for you. And like Steve has explained, you can log into the Steve challenge.org, that link, and then you can sign up with your email, and you'll get a free copy of the Financially Fit book, their PDF copy, and you can begin your journey, and then you can sign up for the challenge. And we're sharing this information. This is not just about marketing an idea, but it's actually giving you an opportunity to change the way you deal with wealth. You need to change. We all need to change. We all can do with financial education, and this is what is going to change the world. And so thank you so much, Steve, for coming on the show. It's a joy. I met you a few a week or so ago, and I like your energy, I like your sincerity, and I believe that you have something so precious for us, and you're willing to teach. You were mentored by someone, and you're willing to mentor others so that they can also become financially free. So thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you everyone for being staying tuned on this show. This is the GG Report, and we're glad that you stayed tuned in. That's all we had for now. My name is Godfrey Gichuki, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, on this very channel. God bless you. Bye for now.